Your organisation will have various procedures and processes to adhere to in regard to ACM management. It's very likely you'll be required to produce periodic, maybe weekly, monthly and/or annual reports about ACM registers for your properties. Toolkit CS helps you with this using the Asbestos Management Console, and in particular the asbestos statistics which is built into the product. Additionally, categories that this user guidance covers provides users with a way of auditing and reporting statistical information about their specific property's ACM. So depending on how you work, you might have to indicate the property type and other criteria via categories, perhaps the fact it is an educational facility or that the building is being demolished, and that affect your surveying and testing for the property. Selecting by ticking the box allows you to select from the list, and users are able to add categories to the list, enabling management reporting at all levels by category type. So you might work for a large asbestos surveying organisation and want to add a category with your own name. Selecting that category on all properties that you're dealing with, you can easily filter results out of Toolkit CS on just your properties. So how do we go about doing that then? We mentioned that the categories are about the property, so we need to find our property to start off with. So a couple of ways of doing that. From the Explorer tree here, I can expand my Explorer, go into my asbestos properties, let's just expand the school one down here, and if you know where it is in here, find it. Alternatively, if you've been working on it recently, it will be on your recent list. I'm just going to pick up the property at the bottom of the list here and open that property up. Now, categories are added to the property name here, so I'm just going to right click on property name. From the context menu here, I'm just going to select categories, and you can see then a list of categories is provided for me. Again, you're seeing categories that are relevant to our CDM side of the project as well as. Let's say that the job that we're dealing with is a demolition job. So I mentioned that earlier. It might be a case that we need to mention other stuff, so demolition of an educational facility, and we can add that information in there as well. But also, as I mentioned, and I've created an entry earlier with my name on, so if I just want to bring back all those I've been attached to, I would need to make sure that the category on each of those properties has been ticked with my name on it. Okay, I'm going to click OK on that. That's now the category is set. If I wanted to create a new category to that list, I'd open it in the same way, so right clicking on the property name, opening up the categories option, and to add a new option here, I'm going to type in another nick because I realised that I typed in that one all in capitals and that's not the format that's been followed through the list here. So I'm typing in another one there and I'm going to add that to the system, and then I'm going to contact my administrator to get them to remove the previous selection. So I've added that in, and I'm going to click on OK. So contacting my system administrator to get them to remove the other nick from my list, clicking on administration console, they're going to go into their drop down list. Again, you won't sort of see this unless you are an administrator. They're going to go to categories, and they can come down and pick up the fact that we've got this list here. You notice as I scanned down, I did it a bit too fast, but going back to that, others have added their sort of names in for putting up on things, and notice that they're ticked as being obsolete now. So those options were not showing up on my front screen when we were inside the property earlier. I'm going to do the same with the nick here. If I want to make something obsolete, I need to just double click on the box so you're not making things obsolete accidentally with a single click. So it's a double click to put that in there and a double click to remove it. If we are, let's just go off it to save it and come back on to remove it. If that description was to be used again, then I can re-establish it. Alternatively, as an administrator, I can delete the description there, and it prompts me to say what's going to happen by deleting. That's why we use obsolete. The nick I added via the pickup because there was a nick in there already, and that sort of confused it. But I can click here to create a new entry, and I'm going to get my administrator to put it in the right format. and that's added to the list now for me to select from. So let's just go back to my home page. I'm going to pick up the property that we were dealing with from my recent list here, and then I'm going to go right click back onto the categories, and now you can see I can tick the nick from the list there. So how does that work for reporting out? So if I want to find all the properties I'm working on, I mentioned that was from the Asbestos Management Console. To find that, I'm going to go back to Toolkit Home. You may have a copy of this on your menu bar here, and I've just added one there. If not, we can left click on there and that opens the Asbestos Management Console, is what we're looking at the moment. The area we want to look at is inside the asbestos statistics, and as I go into here, then I need to filter these results. There's quite a lot of results there for different asbestos containing material across a number of properties. I'm not dealing with that many, so I'm going to filter it on my name. To do that, I left click on filter here. I'm going to come down to categories, which is the second option down, and just select categories. The same list applies, and I'm only interested in properties that I'm dealing with. Clicking on OK, that will then prompt me to click on OK again, and then results will be changed. I've only got the one property which I can drill down to from here, and that should take us back out to our Jackson public school that we were dealing with a minute ago, where I can highlight it, run a report out, export it to Excel, all from this page. And that's how we add categories and use categories throughout the system to help analyze your data. I hope that helps.